All right, we're going to set up a cloud environment in the new vCloud Director Extender solution and do a initial cold migration. So here I have my tenant and provider environment I've set up in the past two videos, and we're going to go ahead and connect it to the vCloud Director environment. So we'll go ahead and select Provider Clouds at the top. We're going to go ahead and add the Provider Cloud. My tenant is Acme, and so we're going to point it to the specified URL, which I've used this in the past a little bit, but we'll go ahead and populate the DNS name of my extender manager that's in the provider environment, along with the credentials of my org admin user. And I can go ahead and test these. Just for the sake of this, we're going to go ahead and add it. And for an initial connection, you'll get a certificate confirmation. I've already accepted it, so I'm not going to get it this time. And we are connected. So we can expand this, and we'll be able to see the allocation pool properties and what I'm currently using and if I had any caps associated with it. So now we're ready to do a initial cold migration. So we're going to go ahead and do migrations and go to migrate. Going to do a cold migration, as I mentioned before. I don't have the network stretch set up yet, so we're just going to do a cold. And we're going to expand our inventory, and we're going to go ahead and select, I have a virtual machine called Migrate Me 2. We're going to go ahead and select that. And it's going to check the status of this virtual machine to make sure it's stopped, what the size is. And if I selected a virtual machine that was, let's say, powered on, it's going to check that and will also error out based off of the running state and won't let us continue on. So we'll go ahead and uncheck that. I'm going to click Next. In here, I can select if I had multiple cloud instances I connected to, what is the VDC I'm connecting, or org VDC I'm using, what storage profile from vCloud Director, and if I had different networks. And if I wanted to schedule the migration at a later time, and we're going to go ahead and do this immediately. And I have the option to power it on after the migration. And we're going to give this job a migration name. So we're going to call this Daniel migration. And we're going to start it. So I have a few interfaces open here. You can see I've been testing this for a while. I've had testing different few solutions, but we'll see the new migrate job pop up here. We can see it's now created. And if we go under the jobs sub tab here, we'll see further details on the Daniel migration that we created here. So what it's doing in the background is talking to Extender Manager along with the vCenter instance, compute vCenter instance in the provider environment, along with vCloud Director, and really initializing this creation of this virtual machine. So we can see that we had the virtual machine created, and I'm now in the provider vCenter environment. We could see that, and I'll show you the timestamp of this. Created the virtual machine, and then it removed it from inventory. It didn't technically delete it. It's actually still in the data store that we associated with this within the org VDC. And we'll see this repopulate into the resource pool once we start doing the cutting over of that. We can see that Migrate Me 2 is synchronizing now. If we actually hop over to my replication instance, we should see my incoming replication. And there we go. So we can see the replication instance coming in, the manager ID, who it's associated with. And if we actually, for giggles, we can actually go to on-prem rep1, we should see the outbound replication. And there we go. So we can see the unique identifier assigned to this replication job that's happening. And this is synchronizing now. Once it's fully synced, we should start seeing it populate in the VCD environment. Let's do a refresh. I have another migrate me, but we're creating migrate me 2. We should start seeing populate under our vApp. And we'll give this a moment. And it looks like we're now cutting over. Let's go to my provider vCenter environment, and this will take a moment. And there we go. It's registering the virtual machine. We should start seeing some configuration changes to assign it to this resource pool along with the unique identifier associated with it. And typically what I see is a couple config changes for when the virtual machine cuts over. Let's see if we see it in vCloud director yet. And there we are. And start seeing an import. 48%. And while this is running, we can also just check and see all the replication operations should have ended already. And on the cloud side, incoming is gone. And if we do a refresh, outgoing is complete too. And there is the unique identifier applied to it. It looks like we're going to get power on here shortly. And there we go, power on. Should start seeing this populate shortly. And completed. So if we refresh, you can see my migrate me to virtual machine power on. And there you have it. So migration complete. Took a few minutes to do. You can see the back-end operations of what happens in the background. Um, really easy to do and great value add for our vCloud Director providers. Thank you very much.